What up? It's Oneoak, and I'm here to basically talk very briefly about music production. Um, when I'm making a track for a specific artist, whether it's a singer, whether it's a rapper, there's usually certain things I always try and capture, and on my end as a producer, and they usually involve these fundamental concepts which I have. I have 8 fundamental concepts which I usually try and apply to every track. Differently, of course, it's not the same. But one of my concepts is having a concept. Basically having a theme, idea, motive, or some type of vibe that I'm trying to attain musically. I usually try to have some type of direction before I just start, going to the keyboard or going to the MPC. I usually try to have a specific road or a specific path that I'm trying to head down. That's one of the concepts. Another concept is musically, the melody. It can be harmony depending on the concept, depending on the type of track I'm trying to have. Or it can be the rhythm. These are all 3 separate concepts as well: melody, rhythm, and harmony. And it's very worthwhile spending a lot of time on these 3 different concepts, and really just trying to perfect. Well, you can't really perfect, but just try and get it right. To the point where you really listening to it back and forth. Maybe give it a couple days, because sometimes when you're in the studio and you're making a hot line, you're like, okay, that's crazy. But then when you listen to it tomorrow, the day after, you're just like, could use a little bit of work. So it's always good to give yourself some time away from the song. Maybe work on another track, maybe collaborate with someone else. But time really does help. So back to the concepts. Really spend a lot of time on these different areas because, melodically, coming up with a very catchy melody is very important. That's what usually everyone remembers from a song. That's what they just grab instantly. It's just the melody. That's very important. Rhythm-wise, especially if it's a dance track or something that's going to be played in the clubs, or it should definitely have a very I would say not really catchy, but a very very just very good rhythm. You would honestly want the rhythm to build up as the track goes along and as the track progresses. But that's again something that it depends on the concept of the track. Will it be appropriate? Also, the artist, will it be appropriate? Always ask yourself these questions as a producer: is this appropriate for this type of track? Don't just try and cram all your skills and all your thoughts into one track. It's just never gonna work like that. In terms of the harmony, a lot of producers tend to spend a lot of time in this category of the harmony, when I personally think that it's not that big of a deal. People sit down and try and come up with unbelievable chord progressions, but then the melody might not be all that exciting, or the rhythm might not be all that exciting. So I just really think that you should always try and keep everything in context. So if the original concept, backtracking, the original concept is to really have a strong party track, a strong, rhythmic track, I don't think you should spend that much time on the harmony. It's not really going to be something that people are going to really remember. Some people might not even catch on to the harmony. But if the concept of your song is to have, beautiful harmonic variation to it, then by any means, sit down and really spend a lot of time crafting a really unique harmony that will have people feeling a certain way at the end of listening to your song. After that, I would say definitely is the performance as the next fundamental concept. The performance is very important. It's something that's not really stressed as much. People just automatically think the performance just comes natural. Even if the artist is a great artist, it doesn't necessarily mean, that their performance is going to be the greatest. So I think that's just something that, while recording, while tracking, should also be very meticulously crafted, just as much as the harmony was, just as much as the melody, just as much as the rhythm, just as much as coming up with a crazy concept. It should just also be very, focused on, and made well, so that at the end of the day, when you're mixing the track, when you send the track off to get mixed, you don't have any doubts that the performance could have been better or anything like that. Always try and just really spend as much time as you can on these different aspects without obviously getting too caught up, because you don't want yourself sitting there, having the artist go over and over, for very meticulous little details that no one's ever going to notice. But you do want the artist to get the performance, as best as possible, and a lot of times, depending on the day, depending on the weather, depending on how nice it is outside, the performance just can change at any time. It's never really the same performance. It can be different Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It's not something that is expected to always be, here, unless you're dealing with, of course, like a top of the line artist, but who's basically been doing what they've been doing for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. It doesn't have to be a commercial artist. It can just be someone that's been, really persistent at doing what they're doing. After the performance, I would definitely say the lyrics are also very important. In terms of the genre of music, whether it's hip hop, pop, R&B, country, they all have their own specific formulas as to what works. So you wouldn't really be going for crazy punchlines in a country song, and you wouldn't be, focused on, I would say, the same things you would be in a pop song and a hip hop song. They all have their own different formulas to what makes that song a part of that genre. So that's definitely something that you guys should also pay attention to. After that, I would definitely say a strong and overlooked category or fundamental concept is the quality of the equipment that's being used. A lot of people just, kind of think that it ends with the performance. It ends with the songwriting, it ends with the melody or the harmony. And in reality, it doesn't end there, because in this society that we have today, there's so much competition out there. It's like, you really have to stand out in every single aspect of music production. You just have to be the trial and aim for the best you can in every single aspect. And when it comes to the quality of equipment, a lot of people have an advantage because they might have more resources, they might have the financial access to certain high-end gear, and others might not. That shouldn't really discourage you from aiming for high quality, because at the end of the day, it's not really about the expensive gear. It's really about just making what you have work for you. And if you have that concept, eventually when you do get to the expensive gear, it wouldn't even really be something that's just like just all brand new to you. It's gonna more so be something that you can just understand how it can just slightly tweak your song, slightly tweak your track, and basically enhance what you're aiming for. Basically what I'm trying to say is that if you spend time learning what you have and what you're using, when you get to using more expensive equipment, it wouldn't really mean as much to you as if you're just sitting there just wishing you had the equipment. Finally, the final and one of the most important aspects is the mix. And a lot of people, a lot of producers, they kind of think backwards when it comes to this. They think that whatever they do, whatever they produce, will automatically get fixed in the mix, or will automatically just magic will happen in the mix. Okay, that's not done properly, but in the mix we'll just save that off. I don't think looking at the mix in that sense will help you in any way possible. The mix should just be to enhance the magic that's already in the song, the magic that's already captured there. When you send your song off to get mixed, there should already be a high level of energy and a high level of feeling and emotion behind the song already, so that the mixing engineer only has to just basically twinkle around with what's already there and just accentuate it a lot more. Their job shouldn't really be to fix your song. That's not really the mentality behind sending your songs to a mixing engineer. It's not to fix your song, it's just to enhance what's already there further. But that's basically it. Those are my fundamental concepts that I usually have when I get into the studio, whenever I'm meeting up with a new artist or whatever it might be. I usually always try to apply those rules all the time, even though I might not apply them the same way to every single track. I usually do tend to apply those rules all the time. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.